Brexit bonanza.
Yes.
And it was an incredible evening, wasn't it? Everybody was happy. They were dancing in the streets and we were all happy.
Singing Rule Britannia.
Yeah, Rule Britannia.
Yeah.
And we entered 2020 absolutely assured that it was going to be the best
Very
year ever.
optimistic.
Yes.
This is the year we're going to regain our sovereignty, become a free, independent nation.
Yeah, and then suddenly, in March the 12th, we're told that 10 people have died of COVID-19, and I started looking last year, because I bought masks and everything last year, and I had noticed already that Dr. Fauci had been over to China, to Wuhan, so I was immediately worried about that, because he was attached to Bill Gates, so I was immediately worried about this conspiracy, and whether it's true or not, what were they really up to? And I was also worried because I'd gone to a Kabbalah teacher before Christmas who had said that 2020 was going to see people rich in 1 minute and poor the next and rich the next. And so I was very aware that there could be a very fast year. I just thought it would generally be about Brexit. But it's not about Brexit. It's about viruses, it's about technology, it's about satellites, it's about anything other than what we would normally talk about. So we've been locked up for 2 months.
Well, honestly, actually...
3 months, I think, actually. 12 weeks, this is the 12th week. How are you feeling?
We never really entirely locked up, I'd say. We were always going out to the park to have exercise.
I think for my year 12, it's really hard for us because this is the only school year we have sort of, it's not such like a regimented schedule, and it's really hard to not have a social life.
It is really hard. And on top of that, you've got serious studying to do, and you've been doing it by Zoom. And how many of your friends actually suffered from this dreadful disease?
None. I don't know a single person.
Obviously, there are many coronaviruses, and COVID-19 is one of them. And when people actually get it, they're really, really sick with it, or they can be really sick with it.
Actually, the hospitals
Yes.
are not at full capacity.
No.
They weren't at full capacity even in the peak of the coronavirus.
Yes.
There were still empty ICU beds.
Who do you blame for creating hysteria when we should have actually been very calm?
Well, the media has definitely played a huge
Yes.
part in whipping up this kind of frenzy about COVID-19, a really overblowing situation, but of course the government itself hasn't. I think it's taken a wrong sort of approach.
And I think that in the beginning that our friend Boris really wanted to do a herd.
Yeah, and the thing about herd immunity
Yes.
is that it works. Humans can become immune to viruses, but they cannot self-isolate. That basically destroys any hope of herd immunity.
So what do you expect in the next few weeks when we slowly come out of our hibernation?
It's going to be a good time in the sense that finally small and medium-sized businesses will be able to open again, but
Exactly.
the aftermath, the economic downturn we're about to incur in
Will
a couple
be-
of months down the line is going to be devastating for so many people.
Yes.
And the question I think everyone will be asking is this worth it? Was this worth this virus that didn't affect 99.9% of the population and had a very low death rate generally? Questions will be asked.
Well, I think that's why they've suddenly diverted and used the problems of America in London. And I don't think people are deliberately racist for not being black and always being told that I'm white privilege. It's very difficult for me to say. But I mean, I know that you have come from a different country. Did you find this? I can't believe that you found that it was a nightmare being in England.
No, not at all. Well, our mother's from Peru. We've always grown up here, so I don't think we've had any discrimination whatsoever.
No, exactly.
And to be honest, I think.
But we're not the
Yeah.
people that would be necessarily
And
discriminated.
especially in London, where actually the white population isn't very large anymore. Anyway, I don't think racism is really valid.
Well, I remember everybody's been locked up for a good 3 months. I suppose everybody has suffered from not having any human contact, and they might be a bit broke as well after this. Very broke, in fact. So I think that everybody's very heightened and they haven't got a lot to do. And so of course they're going to go and behave sillily over this thing, which is a very important subject.
Yeah, it shouldn't be degraded in this way with people just starting to desecrate our monuments, desecrate the Churchill statue, the cenotaph.
Yes, it's not cool.
That's not right whatsoever. And now just taking to the streets, causing chaos, causing anarchy, close to rioting over something that happened not only in America, which is basically a million miles away from here, but also has absolutely nothing to do with us.
Yes.
And it's just really ridiculous. It's just any excuse to go wild.
Yes. What do you think of Candice? Candice was very brave, and she's an amazing speaker. She works with TP USA.
Yeah, she cares so much for the black community, and what's shocking is that she is still labelled a white supremacist. I saw this on Twitter. This is all over Twitter. Candice Owens is a white supremacist. It's a joke. She is an empowered black woman standing up for what she believes in, but because she doesn't side with the left's narrative that black people are somehow underprivileged or just because of their skin colour, when in fact in America everyone has the same equal opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
Depending on how much you want to succeed there, and it's ridiculous.
And it's obviously dreadful in the riots in America, but I thought they did a disservice by stealing gym shoes and breaking down.
Actually hurting their own communities.
Yes, and anybody that does want to get ahead is then therefore takes on their problems too. Do you think that they were paid? Do you think Soros was behind it?
Well, I don't know, but this was definitely an organised protest, and I honestly don't know much about whatever is behind this, but I feel that whoever is responsible for these riots, and specifically the more violent protests which resulted in police being attacked, they must be held accountable, because this is unacceptable and they've caused so much damage to private and public property. Thousands of pounds worth of damage, and they simply can't get away with this.
Yeah, good for Mayor Tusi, who got up at 6 in the morning and went to clean the statue of Churchill. Yes.
People from different backgrounds and who have different experiences can add so much to the debate and can really provide solutions to problems that won't be solved by just a group of people with the same background, same skin colour, the same level of education. So I do think that diversity of thought is really important, and that can often be linked to diversity of background and ethnicity. But I think the most important thing is that we remain a meritocracy where the person who works hardest and the person who is most qualified gets
and the person with the most talent has the job.
Exactly.
And the NHS, of course, they're remembered. They're now on the cover of Vogue. I think this is brilliant. They're put on the cover of Vogue, the workers.
I'm, obviously as a Brit, I'm extremely proud of our NHS, and I think it's a great institution. But I do feel as though there are still problems that we need to address within the NHS.
Well, of course we want the NHS. I mean, it's an amazing thing, but there are lots of areas that are not great within it, and we have to remember those, the people within it. There are lots of other sides of industry that are important during this time, this lock-up time. The postman. And what do you feel about Amazon? Amazon, of course, made a fortune. All the billionaires made a fortune, which is my problem with. I feel like all the billionaires made masses of money, and really
businesses were really damaged and hurt by.
Yes, exactly. And this is not great. Of course, they've got lots of money from the government, but individually they won't have, and it's going to be a disaster for our economy. Tell me what you feel about that rich men are taking over our lives from America now, and not the Europeans who are worried. On the one side of Europe, they were worried about the size of your mozzarella cheese, and only Italy could do that. Now we're worried about.
Well, there is definitely an obsession from the political class to micromanage our lives, and as Bea and I said, we're always on the side of the taxpayer when it comes to this. And Boris recently attended a kind of summit.
He did, on
Gavi,
Friday. Yes, he did.
It was all scripted,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
the point is, they ended up raising something like 8.8 billion
From
dollars
Mr.
of
Gates,
taxpayers'
yes.
money as well.
Yes.
But I think the point is that our money is being siphoned into these organisations without taxpayers' consent, without any democratic accountability, and that's what I find most disturbing of all, that if this is our money, we should at least know what's going on. There should be transparency in politics.
I don't understand why Bill Gates wants to have money in the BBC, in the Guardian, in Gavi, in Wuhan. I mean, he's got his little hands in every single pot. And I didn't understand why Boris was so keen on, he even gave them a call out, you know, Belinda and Bill Gates, thank you so much. I mean, yes, I found it all a bit absurd. And definitely he's not well since he's had this this virus. I'm sure they deliberately injected him with something. I'm sure as you entered number 10, they probably take you in there and say you definitely need these injections so that you don't give any bugs to anybody else. Yeah. Do you think you have a tracking device as inserted in you when you're a Prime Minister?
I don't know, but it's very
Yeah.
dodgy.
But we're going to be in industry with Elon Musk, who is into rockets and surveillance, and basically, you know, all his satellites going up into the air. It'll make a sort of matrix of grids, and they'll be able to watch us having a bath, perhaps. You know, that's going to be really exciting. But it's all illegal anyway. But we have a lot of things to clear up. And they're still locking us up, so we can't clear them up. That's the problem. Will you be having a vaccine if you're offered one?
For COVID, definitely not.
Okay.
You know, if vaccine, it's a bit quick to be developing it. I wouldn't trust.
Along with no sex. And what do you think it is that we can't meet our boyfriends in, you know, if he doesn't belong to your household, you can't have a good snog? I mean, what sort of world are we living in? I mean, they really are making life hell for your age group. And so it's like a tragedy, actually. It's a terrible tragedy that's happening for our democratic rights. I mean, I don't think we have any rights anymore.
No, we don't.
No.
Yeah. They've all been, and I'm especially cautious about police powers, because I think that you can just look at history to see that when authority is given more power, firstly, they don't want to give it back, and secondly, they always use it to the detriment of the people.
Exactly.
And that's what's really, really worrying.
Absolutely, it's not good. Do you want to have the big industries like, you know, investing in England, like Bill Gates, like Elon Musk? Do you want them involved, and Bezos, all involved? I mean, where's our Royal Mail? You know, I'm thinking, why haven't we done an Amazon ourselves? Why do we need their, you know, why do we need Bezos?
We definitely need to focus more on revitalising and rebuilding our British industries. So many people have lost their jobs and their livelihoods, not only because of lockdown, but just generally in the past decades, because of these multinational corporations which have taken over.
Exactly. Do you think Europe are trying to stop us, you know, leaving?
Oh, definitely. That, you know, whether or not coronavirus was, you know, how it happened, we don't know, but the point is that they're definitely weaponising the virus in order to try to force upon us a Brexit extension.
Absolutely. So we're here to check Churchill's monument with the girls, and check that everything is going to be left in its proper condition. And she's coming to check Churchill. Who was our greatest hero during World War II, and whether or not you like him or not, he saved us from being a part of the Nazi huge conglomerate. And so I love Churchill for that, and everybody else should if they're part of the British Isles. And now he's covered with a sort of metal material. It's totally unacceptable. How dare people behave like this?